The following is produced by 5 Star Productions USA, which is solely responsible for its editorial content and is sponsored in part by a grant from Paul Mitchell Salon Hair Care.
If I came back 500 years from now, this aluminum can could still be littering this spot. If only 10% of all Americans recycled one single aluminum can a day, we might save over 250 million gallons of gasoline. That's billion with a B. Hi, I'm Ed Begley Jr. This is today's Environment. Join me as we explore some down-to-earth solutions for the planet's problems of pollution. Could this be a perfect material? I can model this clay into any shape and seconds later make another. Well, modern recycling technology is making other materials just as versatile. Today's tin can may be tomorrow's 747. And here's another example.
In recent years, a recycling revolution has taken place. Environmentally aware consumers are demanding packaged goods that can be recycled easily in a true closed-loop fashion. There's an increase in curbside collection of recyclable products. One material, glass, is now included in all neighborhood recycling programs, and glass containers are 100% recyclable. They can be made into new products over and over again without any loss of quality and negligible waste byproducts. According to the Glass Packaging Institute, the Washington, D.C.-based trade association representing more than 90% of North American glass container manufacturers, in 1993, 35% of all glass containers available on the U.S. market were recovered. Glass bottles and jars are made of soda lime glass, a mix of sand, soda ash, and limestone, which are all plentiful domestic raw materials. These materials are blended and melted in a glass furnace at around 2,800 degrees Fahrenheit. The molten glass is molded and blown into container shapes, then carefully cooled in an oven to toughen it against breakage. After inspection, they're shipped to customers. To be recycled, glass must be separated by color: clear, brown, and green. This ensures the quality and consistency of the new containers being manufactured. Crushed used glass, known as cullet, can be substituted for some or all of the raw materials to manufacture glass containers. Cullet melts at a lower temperature than is required to melt virgin raw materials alone. This saves natural resources and energy needed to heat a furnace while extending its useful life. Cullet purchases by the industry have increased by 95% since 1987, and its use will continue to grow if supplies remain comparable with raw materials in quality, consistency, availability, and price. At present, the only feedstock used in greater quantity than cullet is sand. Consumers can help keep the recycling loop moving in two important ways. First, they can buy recycled products like glass bottles and jars. Second, they can recycle glass food and beverage containers through curbside, drop-off, or other community collection systems. The public's effort to keep glass bottles and jars out of the waste stream would be hindered if contaminants are introduced to the recycled glass during collection, processing, or shipping stages. Things such as metal, gravel, dirt, heat-resistant ovenware, and ceramics can pose major problems. They can cause defects in new glass containers, slow production, and even damage glass manufacturing equipment. The glass container industry's goals are to boost the amount of recycled glass used in producing the best possible package. Recycling scrap glass was once the practice of bottle blowers working in colonial Jamestown. This age-old process of packaging continues today at some 70 state-of-the-art glass container plants operating across the United States.
If you think this is merely a child's toy, think again. This pinwheel demonstrates one way of tapping the enormous energy from the wind. Clean, reusable, a perfect source of power. Finding new energy resources can be very complex or very simple, like this next story will show you.
In Eugene, Oregon, power to the people means just that. The community recently voted for a $150 million bond issue to develop alternate sources of electricity. It passed by a 3-to-1 margin. Why is energy worth so much to them? Because they made a forecast of all their electricity requirements until the year 2011 and decided that now was the time to act. The citizens of Eugene wanted to reduce increasing dependence on the federal Bonneville Power Administration for the majority of their electricity needs. They knew that inevitable rate hikes and increasing demand could put the entire community at greater financial risk. That vote became their declaration of energy independence. From the start, the community forged a partnership with their local public utility, Eugene Water and Electric Board, who also formed a citizens involvement committee and searched for real solutions. Together, the community and their public utility developed a plan to slash demand from Bonneville by nearly 30% over the next 20 years. But Eugene is a thriving city with an expanding customer base. How will they supply more energy with less dependence on outside resources? The community must find alternate renewable energy sources, and they identified one huge energy resource right in their own homes, schools, offices, and factories: conservation. Using energy more efficiently can dramatically change their energy outlook. Consider this. In 1990, conservation supplied less than 5% of their estimated energy demand. In the year 2011, it will account for nearly 20%. That's a 300% increase in the amount of power derived from one resource. But how can they do this? One way is education. Eugene Water and Electric Board works closely with the community. Incentives for installing energy-efficient systems help commercial, industrial, and even residential customers cut their demands dramatically. And to help residential customers save even more, 4 local public utilities and Bonneville created the Energy Outlet, a 1,500 square foot conservation showroom in the heart of downtown Eugene. The outlet aims to inspire customers to learn new ways of conserving heat, electricity, and water in their homes. Conservation. It could be the fastest growing resource that will fill estimates of future energy demands. The citizens of Eugene, Oregon know that much of the energy they need for tomorrow will come from what they save today.
By adding one person in every commuter car, we cut the carbon dioxide gases that cause global warming by 12 million pounds a day. Hey, that makes it very cool to carpool. Get involved with today's environment today.
Every day, new construction materials change the way we build. Hopefully, these new materials will improve our structures and our environmental outlook, like in this next segment. Take a look.
The roof over your head. It helps shelter you from heat, cold, and stormy weather. If it doesn't leak, most of us think it's doing a good job. But as we enter an age where energy and power become precious commodities, some people wonder if their roof works hard enough. Without additional insulation, they allow heat and cold to pass in and out easily and can make energy bills staggering. The demand for energy conservation inspired some designers to create roofing materials that insulate as well as protect you from the elements. One material that provides better insulation and weather protection could be this polyurethane spray foam from Polyurethane Systems of Spring, Texas. It can spray right over an existing roof, and at a 1-inch thickness, it scores an insulation rating of R6.65, the most efficient rating commercially available. This lightweight substance expands to create a seamless layer of foam that seals against leaks. The polyurethane insulating properties make most buildings more energy efficient because the seamless cover eliminates joints that can leak energy. At Texas A&M University, one study found that the installed polyurethane roofs paid for themselves in an average of 4.5 years. 2 separate chemicals pumped through heated hoses combine at the sprayer. The exothermic reaction of the two-component system triggers the blowing agent to boil, causing the polyurethane polymer to expand to 30 times its condensed volume. This forms a closed cell membrane and a monolithic blanket that covers the roof. Thickness can be increased for additional insulation or to create positive drainage. And a coating of elastomeric GE silicone rubber adds another weather-tight layer and reflects heat and sunshine from the roof surface. The polyurethane adheres to most existing roof surfaces. That means the old roof remains on the building instead of heading for the landfill. And because the urethane silicone roof can be rejuvenated many years from now with a simple recoat, it too will never be destined for the landfill. Often, the debris removed from the old roof weighs more than the entire polyurethane installation. The lightweight materials weigh less than 1/3 of a pound per foot, so the new foam roof adds virtually no new stress to the structure. In the past, some environmentalists expressed concern about polyurethane because most foams used ozone-depleting CFCs. But this foam uses a new chemical blowing agent, HCFC 141B, which cuts the effect of the CFC ozone depletion by 90%. And the improved energy efficiency provided by the polyurethane roof can translate to significantly less harmful emissions from burning fossil fuels. In the struggle to preserve our resources for future generations, it's time to examine a new generation of energy-efficient building materials. Because we just might find that new roofing systems can shelter us from the elements and help protect the environment.
The Exxon Valdez oil spill was bad for the planet. But people who change their oil at home and just throw it away are even worse, 11 times worse. Those quarts of oil add up to disaster. Please take your used oil to an oil recycling center and get involved with today's environment today.
Getting this stuff off your clothes can be a wash day nightmare, but many creatures in our ecosystem call dirt their home. When the soil gets contaminated, they can die. The balance of nature depends on these tiny animals, so keeping our dirt clean is no small task. Watch this.
Air and water pollution are often easy to spot because in many instances they are very visible. On the other hand, contaminated soil, whether on the surface or underground, can be another story. Gasoline, diesel fuel, and toxic chemicals leaked from underground pipelines and storage tanks can go undetected for years because the problem is out of sight. One of the biggest obstacles to cleanup is that contamination often seeps under buildings, streets, and other paved surfaces. This is often the case in congested urban areas. The Charles Machine Works Incorporated, manufacturer of Ditch Witch underground construction equipment, and Sandia National Laboratories, with funding from the U.S. Department of Energy Office of Technology Development, have developed a successful method for working beneath surface obstacles. Originally developed to install underground utility lines, this horizontal boring equipment is being used to remove contaminants from undersurface obstructions. Guided horizontal drills can accurately reach areas beneath these obstructions without disturbing the surface. A beacon in the drill head transmits a radio signal providing depth and head position. This data is monitored by electronic tracking equipment. Using this position information, the operator is able to change direction as necessary. Ditch Witch equipment can be used for two purposes: characterization and remediation. During the characterization phase of a project, directional equipment is used to remove material for testing to determine whether there is contamination. During the remediation phase, a horizontal well is drilled through the area of contamination. When the bore is finished, screen is pulled back through the hole. Screen essentially is pipe with slits through which vapor or liquid contaminants can pass. Vapors collected can be allowed to evaporate at the open ends or can be removed by forcing air into one end of the well and out the other. If the pollutant is a liquid, it may be pumped out, containerized, and removed in accordance with requirements for handling the contaminant involved. However, one of the advantages of remediation with this equipment is that in many instances, soil, vapor, and liquids do not have to be physically removed. So cleanup is accomplished without containerization, special handling, and extra cost. remediation with horizontal boring equipment, an example of how creative thinking adapted a product developed for utility construction to help make our environment cleaner and safer.
Most offices used to use adding machines, but today we rely on far more powerful office equipment. And tomorrow, it will probably be outdated too. When innovations come this rapidly, it's important that we make sure the change is for the better. Watch this.
You're looking at the spearhead of the revolution, the desktop computer. In about 15 years, this powerful tool has changed the way we live, work, and play. Few businesses exist without at least one. Tens of millions of Americans use them every day. Computers and visual display terminals often dictate the look of a modern office. Other machines, spawned from rapidly developing office technology, continue to change how we work, when we work, and whether or not we even travel to work. With all this innovation, the field of ergonomics, or the study of the relationship between humans and their working environment, becomes critical. Some major questions confront businesses today. What are the best office designs for the equipment and the task? Are there health risks involved with the new technology? And what is its environmental impact? In the search for answers, concerned corporations form the Center for Office Technology to gather, summarize, interpret, and distribute research conducted by its members and others such as the government. They closely examined research in the area of workstation design and highlighted two important considerations: adjustability for individual needs and control, and the reduction of physical strain. These points repeatedly stand out as important features that may improve productivity and morale and reduce the potential for musculoskeletal discomfort. This research guides designers at Herman Miller Incorporated as they strive to create more advanced ergonomic workstations using energy-efficient production processes. Does the new technology pose any additional health risks? That question continues to be a major source of focus. Emissions, electromagnetic fields, VDT effects on vision, and pregnancy risks constitute important topics about which the Center publishes research and information. COTS member companies are leading the effort to conduct research and work with the government to set standards that will improve product design to benefit and protect workers. Leading computer manufacturers like IBM use this data to help design product refinements and innovations. Environmental impact. Many workers care about the new technology and the ecological effects created by the new electronics, chemicals, and plastics in their offices. Some companies have responded with smoke-free, CFC-free, and formaldehyde-free offices. The call for proper recycling of office furniture and computer hardware now challenges many employers to form new purchasing and disposal policies. Proper environmental management is just as important in today's workplace as it is in a forest. If the campaign to clean up our environment has taught us anything, it's that we cannot continue to achieve productivity by squandering our natural resources. In an office environment, people are the primary resource and must be protected just like any critical asset.
Even if you look closely, you can't see most of the contaminants in water, but they're in there. So how do we purify our water and keep our environment pure at the same time? Here's one possibility.
Chlorine. You can find it almost anywhere. It's a common household cleaner. It whitens your shirts in the bleach load. It even makes water drinkable. But it's not perfect. Water treated with chlorine leaves trihalomethanes, known carcinogens. National Cancer Institute reports show that people who regularly consume chlorine-treated water may face some health risks. Of course, water quality concerns not related to chlorine also share the blame for other potential disorders. In the search to find alternatives to chlorine-based water treatment, one oxygen-based technology discovered in 1886 emerges as a strong contender: ozonation. the purification of water with ozone, active oxygen, as in this system from Dell Industries. The ozone oxidizes and precipitates iron, sulfur, and manganese, as well as killing bacteria, viruses, and the parasites they feed on. It returns water to clean and odor-free. In low-volume situations, a generator combines oxygen and ultraviolet light to create ozone. This process reflects how the sun creates the ozone layer in our upper atmosphere. In high-volume situations, corona discharge or simulated lightning bolts create large amounts of ozone from oxygen. Ever notice the fresh smell after a thunderstorm? That's lightning-generated ozone. Thousands of municipalities worldwide already use this system. And in America, stringent new FDA and EPA guidelines make conversion to ozone water treatment more and more popular. The city of Los Angeles purifies over 500 million gallons of drinking water per day using the ozonation process. In bottled water, ozonation often delivers the purification treatment. Ozonated water contains no trihalomethanes and no odor. Dell sources cite lab tests that consistently show ozone purification as over 1,000 times faster and 150 times stronger than chlorine treatment. Ozonation's primary byproduct is life-giving oxygen. No chemicals enter the water which can be absorbed through the skin, and no environmentally hazardous gases escape into the atmosphere. Water purification through ozonation may offer a significant part of the solution in the search for alternatives to chlorine products. Maybe it's time we rediscover an environmentally advanced technology that's over a century old.
Americans throw out nearly 2 tons of junk mail every year without even opening it. The paper used for this advertising consumes nearly 1.5 trees for every household every year. You can reduce this waste. Call or write the company who sent it to you and tell them to take your name off their lists. Then recycle their paper. I hope you enjoyed the show. Join me next time as we explore more environmental solutions on Today's Environment.
If you know of any interesting environmental success stories, call us at 407-997-9800. This has been a presentation of 5 Star Productions USA. The preceding program was sponsored in part by a grant from Paul Mitchell Salon Hair Care.